Hello, and welcome to the English Listening Podcast. Today, we will practice English with a longer shadowing story inspired by the idea of the Museum of Innocence. This story is about love, memory, time, and the small objects that carry big emotions. Remember how shadowing works. You listen carefully, you repeat at the same time or just after the speaker, you do not translate, you follow the rhythm. You listen, you repeat, you feel the story. Now, take a deep breath, relax, let's begin. There was once a man named Kemal. Kemal was born into a wealthy family. He lived in a beautiful apartment in the city. He had expensive clothes, a good education, and a successful career ahead of him. From the outside, his life looked perfect. But inside, Kemal often felt restless. One day, he met a young woman named Fusun. Fusun was not rich. She was not from a powerful family, but she had something special. She was warm. She was natural. She laughed easily. She spoke honestly. Kemal felt different when he was with her. He felt alive. They began meeting secretly. They met in small apartments. They met in quiet cafes. They walked through narrow streets. They talked about movies. They talked about dreams. They talked about the future. For Kemal, every moment with Fusun was precious. He watched the way she moved her hands. He listened to the sound of her voice. He noticed the small details. The way she fixed her hair. The way she smiled when she was shy. The way she looked out of the window when she was thinking. Kemal believed this was true love. But reality slowly entered their world. Kemal's family expected him to marry a woman from a similar social class. They had already chosen for him. Her name was Sibel. Sibel was elegant and educated. She was suitable in the eyes of society. Kemal felt trapped between two worlds. One world was safe and accepted. The other world was emotional and real. Kemal became engaged to Sibel, but his heart was still with Fusun. One day, everything changed. Fusun disappeared. She stopped answering his calls. She moved away without explanation. Kemal felt as if the world had stopped. He walked through the city in silence. Every street reminded him of her. Every shop window reflected memories. Every song on the radio sounded painful. He could not forget her. Instead of forgetting, he began collecting. He kept small objects from the time they spent together. A hairpin she once left on a table. A small spoon she used while drinking tea. A cinema ticket from a movie they watched. Even cigarette butts she left in an ashtray. For other people, these objects were nothing. For Kemal, they were proof. Proof that love had existed. Proof that those moments were real. Years passed. Kemal visited Fusun's family home often. He sat at their dinner table. He spoke politely. He watched her carefully. She had changed. She was older. She was quieter. She carried her own sadness. Kemal never stopped loving her. His love changed shape. It became patient. It became silent. It became eternal. One day, Kemal made a decision. If he could not live inside that love, he would protect it. He bought an old house in the city. It was not large, it was not luxurious, but it was filled with possibility. He began placing the objects inside. Each object had its own place. On one wall, he placed hundreds of cigarette butts. Each one represented a day, a conversation, a memory. In a glass box, he placed earrings she once wore. In another, he placed photographs. He wrote small notes next to each object. He explained the story behind it. He described how he felt that day. He described the weather. He described her expression. The house slowly became something special. It was not just a house. It was a museum. But it was not a museum of kings or wars. It was a museum of love. Visitors began to enter. They walked slowly from room to room. They read the notes. They looked at the objects. Some visitors smiled. Some visitors cried. Many visitors thought about their own lost loves. The museum taught something simple. Love is not only in grand gestures. Love lives in small details. In a forgotten hairpin. In a used glass. In a simple ticket. Kemal believed that even if people leave, their presence can remain. Memories can be protected. Feelings can be preserved. The house stood quietly in the city. Outside, life continued. Cars moved. People hurried. Time passed. But inside the museum, time was frozen. Inside, love remained young. Kemal understood something important. Innocence is not about being perfect. It's about loving without calculation. It's about remembering without shame. The museum became his way of saying, this love existed. This love mattered. And through the objects, Fusun lived on, not as a person walking the streets, but as a feeling that could be visited, a feeling that could be seen, a feeling that could be remembered. That's the end of today's extended shadowing story inspired by the idea of the Museum of Innocence. Today, we practiced emotional storytelling and descriptive language in English. Remember, listen again, repeat again, let your voice follow the rhythm. Shadowing helps your pronunciation, fluency, and confidence grow step by step. Thank you for listening to the English Listening Podcast. See you in the next episode.